SJW, Spider-Man, and RenFamous will never debate me or anyone. They exist to lie and propagandize. They exist to harass and persecute people who see through their lies. They exist to entertain the worst SJW scum on the internet with their lies. A convo would make this plain. Their ultimate goal is to deplatform anyone who opposes social justice cry bullies. They produce zero evidence of bigotry. Indeed, I'm a soft-hearted and compassionate liberal who was invited to speak before the LGBTQ plus Republicans this summer. There is no evidence of hate. Van Sciver also indicated he would not have RenFamous or SJW Spider-Man on his channels, describing them as anti-LGBT monsters. But the truth is, they're the ones who don't deserve a platform for their toxicity. I speak to nearly 100,000 people on YouTube. I won't share that platform with abusers. I won't share it with anti-LGBT monsters like RenFamous or anonymous leftist thugs like SJW Spider-Man. Van Sciver had previously intimated that he had been open to debating RenFamous. And Artavana asked September 30th of 2018, would you debate? I said, I'd be happy to. I find Lauren to be very clever and funny. I'd be thrilled to debate her about our favorite topic, ComicsGate. And then she said, nope, I'm just a nobody cosplayer after all. I think the debate you're looking for is between a ComicsGate founder and one of the many comics pros who have been relentlessly harassed by ComicsGate. So that's weird. This is a switch around. Let's see. Oh, Ethan's running. Oh, RenFamous is okay. RenFamous says, oh, Ethan's running away. I had great debate topics picked out too. Merits of crowdfunding a second comic before you've even finished the first one. I think that's it, Mike. I think that's Mike. Is there a thing too obvious when grifting the Is there such a thing as too obvious when grifting the maggot crowd? Best way to explain the doll thing to your wife. It doesn't appear this debate will happen with Van Sciver on board. Given RenFamous has previously declined to debate Van Sciver, it lends credence to Van Sciver's claim that she has no intention of debating him. Would you want to see RenFamous and her team debate Benjamin Henderson, John Delarose, and Ethan Van Sciver? Do you think RenFamous's challenge to debate was in good faith?
No. No. She's coming back to debate because she's starving of oxygen. No one's paying attention to her anymore. So now she's like, I'll debate. Yes, Richard, Zach cut out Twitter. He's not paying attention to her anymore. You've blocked her pretty much on attention. And now she's like, yeah, I'll debate. I'll do whatever the fuck I got to do to get someone to start paying attention. Nobody's paying attention to her anymore. That's what's happening.
Yeah. Well, it's so tempting.
I think I agree with Cecil.
We all just got to block her and stop giving her any attention.
I really am a sucker. Like, I would love to debate her. But do I want to get on an airplane to debate her? No. I'm very busy. I have a 2.5-year-old daughter. I'm not going to go anywhere. I'm staying home. I have no plans to do any conventions except for one, and that's Star Wars Celebration. Well, she could meet me at Star Wars Celebration. She wanted to.
Plus, you can't die in a debate. You promised to die, in the speech you're supposed to be giving.
Yes. Well, I'm not gonna. They're not gonna kill me in a debate, are they?
I don't know. Could be a setup.
Hey, Ethan, I can't go to a Star Wars Celebration, but you're gonna be near me. You want to go have dinner when you're here?
No.
Oh, wow.
I'm kidding, Nasser. Yeah, I'd love to. Let me see what the chat is saying. Let's see. Do it. Let her dry out and die. To Cecil, you listen. Don't do it. I suspect a setup. No, Cecil's right. Don't give that B any air. Cecil the wise. Darn tootin'. Do it. Do it, Ethan. Don't. What do you have to gain? Hard pass. How did your last debates go with SJWs? Not great. Do it. Obey the Lord of Light. Don't do it. RenFamous says debate. She would just read the whole time. Well, yeah, they just ostracize you. Everyone's saying no.
No, first of all, she's a paid shill, and she's not getting any results anymore. She was getting tons of attention, and now she's not getting any attention anymore. Who even thinks about her?
It's true.
If we all just
sure? I mean, I haven't seen RenFamous isn't getting attention.
No, SJW Spider-Man's the new guy.
I want to debate him. I like SJW Spider-Man.
She's out. She's old news. If anything, debate him.
Well, I don't know. Can I do it? But can I do it from home? And if you need to look me in the eyes, I mean, I'll show my face the whole time. I mean, I just don't want to. The whole thing about traveling somewhere. It's just for what? I'm not traveling places. But I will debate anytime because and I will do it anywhere. It doesn't have to be on my channel. It can be on someone else's channel, and I will show face, and I will look in the eyes if she wants to show her face as well. I don't. It doesn't bother me. The idea of starving her of oxygen doesn't. I don't know.
Just read a super
Not
chat.
that important to me. I don't know. I'm not sure, guys. Cardinal Sin never apologized to a blue-haired land whale, says Brett Fabre. Mark C says, you need to see the Geeks and Gamers car video for Lucasfilm. It's hilarious. Graham Patrick says, can't wait to see Nasser feed EVS a 2-day-old sandwich in his car. Leon Garnett says, if you do it, do your own video recording. Well, one assumes that it would be broadcast. Obi-Wan says, to quote the great admiral, it's a trap. Yeah. And by the way, that whole thing that I wrote it before RenFamous said that she wanted to debate. I didn't look at RenFamous saying, yes, I will debate in person and go, no. I heard both of them say, no, I'm not debating. And I went, all right, fuck you guys, we're not debating. I was going to debate. I was going to debate Vox Day on Ethan Ralph's channel. You think I'm afraid of debating RenFamous?
No, I don't think you are. I mean, there's no point. All you'd be doing is breathing like it's all gain for her and no gain for you. It's like,
well, you think about the last 3 debates you've been to? I mean, they really had no substance of argument or anything like that. It was just a waste of your time.
Yeah, but I think somebody said my mic was off. That's because I was to the side of my microphone. I was reading something. Yeah, I don't know. But here's the thing: like, RenFamous is the beating heart of these idiots. Like the people who I debated were just like people who are orbiting RenFamous. You know, it's like RenFamous is the actual heart of the monster, and you know that she is because everyone follows her and just goes, RenFamous will protect us. I subscribe to RenFamous. I stand next to her. I'm not even going to say anything. I'm just going to let RenFamous do it.
But Ethan, at the end of the day, all she's going to do is call you a Nazi. We know she's not going to change her mind, and it's just going to be a waste of your time.
Yeah, I agree.
But I can say things too.
EVS wants to do it really bad. I can tell. So just do it.
Cecil, I'm listening to you. You know, it's like I don't want to run into something like what I want to do isn't always the best thing.
The few times you have debated people, it was completely uneventful and just monotonous and hard to listen to because they were just idiots and they had no point. What's the point? You're a Nazi and what? You did a sketchbook 10 years ago? Like, what the fuck are they going to say?
No, her questions are merits of crowdfunding a second comic before you've even finished the first one. Okay. I would say ask Jamal fucking Eigel that.
Ask Richard Pace.
Yeah, I mean, that's, well, Richard Pace hasn't finished his first one, but he hasn't crowdfunded another one. Jamal Eigel has grifted twice, and he hasn't finished either of them. I'm not crowdfunding a second comic book. I'm not. I'm sitting here doing Cyberfrog. So until Cyberfrog is finished, I have no plans to start a second comic book. You want to ask that question of Mike S. Miller, and he will tell you, well, my comic was finished. I did overlayer Meg and, those other books over top of it. But at the same time, I don't think it was that big of a deal. Is there such a thing as too obvious when grifting the MAGA crowd? I don't know. I guess there is, and that's why DC and Marvel are going out of business, and the MAGA crowd is coming over to us. See, the problem is that the MAGA crowd used to buy Marvel and DC comics and mainstream comics. RenFamous, the MAGA crowd is actually probably the mainstream comic book buying base of comics, which is why now that they're not with you anymore, the comic book industry is going out of business. So is it too obvious? Yeah, it seems to be. I think putting out 8 variant covers on the number 8 issue of Daredevil. It doesn't work. It's too obvious. That's an obvious grift. They don't go for it. That's why comic shops go out of business. I'm pretty sure that making people buy 50 copies of a book that they can't sell 10 of in order to get a variant cover, what's it called? Lenticular variant cover that they can sell. That's an obvious grift. That didn't seem to work. I think canceling and relaunching Captain Marvel and all these other SJW comics over and over and over again with new number ones when they, crash out on the 5th issue, that's a pretty obvious grift. So I think that answers your own question, RenFamous. They're over here with us. The MAGA crowd's over here with us because of the grift that they've endured in the mainstream comic book industry, which is collapsing all around you. And that's why they're turning to you saying, please debate Ethan for us. Mm-hmm. Lauren, I would destroy you in a debate. I would take you apart. I'm a gentleman, though. Best way to explain the doll thing to your wife? What doll thing? Cutting a Rose Tico figure in half? She laughed at it like a normal person did. She thought it was funny. What else?
So you're going to be in a debate with her for an hour.
What else, you boozed up old hag?
She's going to yell at you for chopping up Rose Tico.
RenFamous, best way to explain what you're doing to your husband instead of making him happy. What do you do? How does he tolerate you? How does that poor guy tolerate living with you?
Well, it's because he never talks to her. She's on Twitter for 14 hours a day.
He's probably encouraging her. Shouldn't you be on Twitter?
Oh,
right.
Good Lord. I
she starts talking to him.
I feel like God, it really is like the comic book industry is collapsing all around. And we have this ridiculousness, like these questions. RenFamous, ComicsGate is succeeding. It's succeeding, and it should really scare you. Well, I guess it doesn't, because I don't think you're that concerned about the comic book industry, to be honest with you. I'm not sure that you're a fan, but it should really scare you that so many of these professionals are hanging their hopes on you of stopping us from doing what we're doing naturally, which is winning. It's on your shoulders, RenFamous. I don't think you're up to it. I don't think you're up to it.
No, she's not. She's
you want to debate me about cutting up action figures, you idiot? When the comic book industry is collapsing, you fucking idiot. You want me to talk about cutting up action figures?
No, just look at the digital.
You want to call people MAGA? You want to talk about grifting the MAGA crowd? You complete buffoon. When retailers are saying, stop it, stop sending us these incredibly ridiculous scams with these variant covers. We're closing our doors. You want to talk about this? Where are accusations of bigotry, RenFamous? Why isn't that even on your fucking list? Where's the Nazi accusations? Are we done with those now? Now we're talking about action figures? Dummy. What's the plan? What is the plan for saving comics? Because that seems to be on your shoulders. You've got all of these comic pros like, please help us by being witty. You're very witty. You're very funny. Comic book industry is dying. And we've walked away from it. The MAGA crowd has walked away from it. They're following us at this point. They like what we're doing. They like what we have to say. I don't know. I mean, it's almost too sad. Like, it's sad. Once you get past this whole thing about exposing ComicsGaters as bigots, it's kind of a self-defeating thing. They don't like that. I mean, these people are actual customers. They don't want to have to justify themselves to some boozed up old cosplayer from Austin, Texas, wasting your time on the internet, dunking on comic book fans that don't agree with what's going on in comics right now.
Well,
It's like
those likes. She's getting those likes from Joe Q, so that's all that matters.
you're on the right side of history, RenFamous, but you're history. You understand? We're the future. This is the future of comics, and it's so sad. When I say that we're the future of comics, that isn't a boast. I hang my head when I say that. Comics have no future because of idiots like you and the people that you lead around by the nose, by the people that you entertain. We're going to be all that's left.
I think that's for the best. I'm not complaining if Marvel goes out of business. I'd like to be all that's left.
I just, you know,
Well, in some ways.
I don't. I would like a healthy comic book industry, but I really feel like at some point, somewhere along the line, some people let a bunch of RenFamouses break into comics and start making decisions for the health of an industry that was already past its prime.
What do you mean? Some people? It's Joe Quesada. It's fucking
Joe Quesada. No. There are individuals that I could list. SJWs. SJWs get in and then they open the doors.
Yeah,
for
but
more
Rex
SJWs.
is his little pet. Like he makes it very clear to everybody in ComicsGate like that she's got his seal of approval.
Yeah.
How much you think he's paying her?
Oh, I don't think he is. I think there's another situation going on with that. But
I agree with VVS. You know, like I don't want to see these characters just vanish. You know what I mean? I grew up with these characters, and I hate to see them just be destroyed because of SJW.
well, they're not. If they're not going to be destroyed, they're going to exist somewhere else. And I'm not worried about the future of Spider-Man or the future of Superman. They're going to continue to have a future. It's just the comic books aren't. And there are a lot of people, myself included, who spent my life learning a discipline, learning an art form, learning how to do comics. And I was hoping that this career would carry me through the rest of my life. But of course it's not. You know, it's just not. Comics can't survive this. Comics already are a tiny little niche of a niche audience. And you know, when those people, comic books are an addiction. People need to be addicted to comic books. You need to say, I got to find out what's happening in the next issue of Batman. I got to get to the comic shop and buy that. And then whatever else looks cool. It's an addiction. And addictions, as we know, are breakable. You can't conquer addictions. And you could certainly be shamed out of an addiction. You know, you can just decide that the addiction, the consequences of the addiction are too great. You know, it's like I don't want this for my life anymore. I don't want to have to listen to these people. I'm not enjoying it as much as I used to. All of these things cause you to lose an addiction and walk away from it, and that is what's happening in comics right now.
I felt everything you just said, Ethan. I think I've been I'm the newest one here to comics. I've only been reading them since 2013. And I was addicted at first. You know, that the first and only time I ever overdrafted my bank account was I was in high school buying Batman comics on eBay. Huge addiction. And then in the last couple years, these people just killed it for me. I go to the comic shop, I walk out with 1 or 2 books. Like on Black Friday, they had a sale. Everything $5 and under was only $1. I walked out of there with 3 whole comics. They've just killed it for me.
Well, I mean, it's not, you're not alone, and we're watching it with decreasing sale numbers. So, you know, look, we're going to keep doing what we're doing. Do I have 100% confidence that like we're going to make it either? No, I don't. The comic book industry is just the idea of selling these magazines to people is becoming tougher and tougher because the audience is shrinking and moving on to other things. But ComicsGate is doing what it can to reestablish a new model and a new communication between us and fans and readers, and try to get enough people interested in buying everything that we do, so that we can actually support ourselves, doing what we're trained to do.
I think what
I
you're doing
don't see the
what's
same.
working.
Yeah, I just don't see the same future for mainstream comics right now.
Right.
And I don't know what RenFamous's plan is to do that. I'm not sure like what dunking on ComicsGate and getting ComicsGate to go away is going to do at this point. There is a goddamn meteor headed for the Earth that's going to cause mass extinction, and these idiots are sitting there running around trying to make sure that everybody isn't homophobic before it hits. It's disgraceful. It's an entire waste of time. There are things that we could actually be doing to make comics sellable, to make fans interested, to make them feel invited, to make them feel a part of this. And instead, we're having arguments with these idiotic social justice warriors who are basically orgasming to the dopamine hits of being told they're on the right side of history by arguing with and embarrassing normal people. Normal people. These weirdos. I debate RenFamous? There's no debate to be had. The comic book industry is dying. You're laughing while it's happening. And you're getting whatever you can get out of it. Social media plaudits while these idiots who are signed up with you, their livelihoods are on the line. Making me go away? Let's say that you defeated me somehow in a debate. And let's just say that defeat led to me never being able to produce another comic book again. It's not going to change a goddamn thing about these people's situations. Comics are dying. Is it just that you need me to die too? You want? I'm not allowed to make a living either. I'm sorry. I've left already. I'm on my own. I had to. But these people are all going to have to come to the same conclusion that I did. Learn to code. That's your option right now. If you're not going to do what I'm doing, learn to fucking code.
Like you were saying earlier, the best thing to do right now is is develop this new platform which you're doing. You connect with the customer base and they support you. Because they know you, they get to know you, they get to understand your personality and who you are, and they feel like that you establish that connection with them on a personal level. So all they want to do is support you, and I guess that's the new model for now for comics.
Yeah. Well, I don't know, guys.